With Pokemon Unite, which recently marked its first year on the market, many Pokemon have gradually but definitely heeded the call of a franchise-flavored MOBA. The roster has grown tremendously since then, far more than many of us had anticipated. It's awesome, but it can also be totally overwhelming. Pokemon Unite is undoubtedly one of those fantastic games where, given the right circumstances, almost every character can be used. In the end, what matters most in any given match is not so much whether a unit is capable as it is how capable and for how long. Here are our conclusions. Blissey may be the best choice for starters for players who want to join a team with their friends and pitch in as much as they can while still learning the game. For far too many reasons to list here, let's just say that you should keep Blissey away from the forest because that's where it dies. We believe that a different healer, higher up in our ranks, is finally in a position to challenge the egg-carrying nurse Pokemon in Unite. A fantastic health pool and the kind of buffs you can use to turn the tables help Blissey maintain enough relevance to stay in our top 10 list. Longtime Absol supporters who love Hone are familiar with Pain. In terms of stats, it was shockingly subpar in the first generation of the main games, before suddenly being viable in the 6th generation iterations of the Hone remakes. However, when Megas was effectively eliminated from those games, poor Absol was put back in the corner. Perhaps there are other Absol devotees among the development team, as this cherished Pokemon is now receiving the attention it well deserves. Nothing in Absol's core suggests anything other than assault, so attack it must, taking out potentially troublesome opponents throughout the middle of the game in particular, but standing tall against the opposition, even as the game came to a close. Greedent is a great choice for players who are curious about learning in-depth mechanics and strategies. Greedent can be efficiently played everywhere, although how well the character performs will depend on the player's proficiency with the game's rules. It can be quite challenging to use Greed properly. Fortunately, the character possesses a number of high-damage moves, a ton of durability overall, support options, and just generally effective moves. A tank DPS build for Greedent can be very effective in the hands of a good player. Who among us can honestly claim to have witnessed this small boy ascend to the pinnacle of gameplay in any Pokemon game at any time? If the enduring mascot of the Pokemon franchise wasn't able to maintain a presence in Unite's meta, then would be bad days indeed. Pikachu is undoubtedly one of the top Pokemon in Pokemon Unite. Pikachu may be utilized anywhere, but the jungle is where it shines. Because of its speed, which is appropriate for an electric station, Pikachu plays a part throughout the entire process, rather than focusing on one particular element. The fact that Mr. Mime is such a fantastic character choice will please players who both like playing support and prefer characters with some personality. As long as you keep him away from the jungle, he will continue to be fantastic. The character often relies on others in order to be most useful, and his assaults aren't the best, but once the stat debuffs start flying, this surprisingly tough trickster will more than make up for it. There are several additional possibilities if quick-fire attacking is not your chosen strategy. Snorlax is one of the more effective defense Pokemon available. Although Snorlax can be employed in the bottom lane, it works best there. Snorlax is still a very valuable squad member, even though it fails to stick out in the early and late game. It shouldn't come as a huge surprise that Snorlax makes an excellent tank character who excels in stunning and disabling when necessary. The current Pokemon Unite meta's undisputed best healer is Cleafable. Simply put, Moonlight doesn't face much competition as a spell. If you feel like that isn't enough, think about its debuffing abilities. Cleafable won't let you down if you find a time to make it more of a non-healing support unit. Who cares if it's not the best in the game for that specific function when you can switch to something this wonderful at a moment's notice? Ivysaur's damage output options are valuable to have on every team, despite the fact that it may be a bit of a glass cannon at the beginning of games. A lot of swift victories are likely to be attained by players with the aid of powerful assaults that have a wide area of effect and hit at a very long range. Characters who choose an all-around strategy over specific combat skills often pay the price for it in video games, whether they are competitive or not. Mew is an exception. Pokemon Unite can now be played entirely differently thanks to Move Reset. Okay, so maybe we were a little theatrical there. But think of Mew's usefulness. It may be unmatched in many respects. Mew is an excellent choice in most circumstances because it can switch between roles and lanes with ease and has passable enough stats to never completely falter. With the best supporter Pokemon in the game, harass your Pokemon Unite foes. To keep the pressure on your opponent, add in an experience share for a held item, along with the proper speed enhancements and the ever-useful Shadow Ball to fill a move slot. It should come as no real surprise that Unbound builds are more offensively oriented. The only strategy we wouldn't advise is combining support and defensive skills, because Hoopa can fast lose its enviable charm if it multitasks excessively. Similar to Hoopa, many dedicated Pokemon Unite players concur that Serena, despite her fairly difficult playstyle, may be the game's best character. Serena is a great choice for any lane, but stands out for the jungle for players worried about lane use. One of Pokemon Unite's most dependable Pokemon is Serena. She holds strong, while other strong attackers would commonly falter, deals significant damage, and uses debuffs to restrain aggressive players.